Now let us settle down into our seats, feet flat on the floor, hands in your laps, palms up for receiving. And continue to breathe in and breathe out, breathing in the beautiful energy of HeartLight Spiritual Center and the beautiful energy of everyone here, and breathing out anything that doesn't serve you today. As we observe Earth Day, it would be nice if we could be out on the ground, but I ask you to use your vivid imaginations to see, feel, know that the floor beneath you is Mother Earth, solid ground. Just visualize the bare ground that supports you and connect that earth in your mind. Now put one hand on your heart and pretend that the other hand is on the ground. And take several deep breaths, connecting the grounding of your heart and your heart center to Mother Earth. Now bring your awareness to all of your senses. Think of the sounds of birds, the smells of flowers, and sensations. Whatever the sensations may be when you're outside and in the environment. Just simply notice what your body is experiencing and continue to breathe deeply and slowly. Now bring your awareness to your heart center. As you inhale, imagine you're filling your heart with love. And imagine and know that that love is spreading throughout your wonderful body. Just feel it going throughout every muscle, tissue, organ, cell. Feel that love penetrating every part of your body. And with each breath, feel the love in your heart expanding outward to fill the space around you, continuing to let it grow steadily. As you fill your heart with overflowing love, bring to your mind the many things you are grateful for. You may think of your own healthy body, someone you love, some food you particularly like, clean water and air, and your home. You might even bring to mind HeartLight Spiritual Center. But you feel the power of your gratitude, and it amplifies the love radiating from your heart, that it can eventually encompass the entire planet. Now, shift your focus to the earth, the hand that you know is touching the earth. Consider that everything that you experience, the love, and those things for which you are grateful, is made possible by this incredible planet that sustains you. The air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, and the materials that built your home and your clothing all came from this life-giving planet that we call home. So take a moment to silently thank the earth for all that you appreciate in your life. And as you expand that appreciation to all that exists, know that everyone's prayers of gratitude are being lifted to harmoniously and simultaneously heal the planet. As we come back to this time and place, I would like for you to consider the mantra of healing the earth begins with my own healing. Love on the planet begins with love in my own heart. And take this love and gratitude with you through this day and through this week. And remember to be grateful for Mother Earth and for all the blessings she bestows upon us. And so it is.
Have you ever been to Sedona, Arizona? Wow, what an experience. The vortex, the red rocks. I've had some of the greatest experiences and meetings there through the years, and what a unique place to visit. It was actually a space for the Native Americans. It was their church. It's where they came to worship, and they asked the white man not to build anything on it, and today they've got resorts and all kinds of things buried on sacred grounds and whatever. But that's just the way it went, and that's the way it is. But anyway, we want to honor those who have contributed to bringing us back to a organic spirituality that's connected to earth. I mentioned a while ago that one of the things that Christianity and those who follow Bible on a literal level was told that they would be basically dominion over the earth. Now, the thing that a lot of people don't know is there was a history before the Bible. Doesn't start. The Bible doesn't start. Although it starts out in the beginning. But if you study that word and bring it back into the original languages, it is a plural word that actually could be more translated in a beginning. Not in the beginning of everything, but something was beginning in the writings of the Bible. And this was about 10, 12,000 years ago when we was moving out of our infancy as a species to adolescence. This was the time in which we had moved away from the feminine, which was first. Now it makes sense, doesn't it? How can you have anything without the feminine first? You know, if you make God a he, then where did he come from? And that seemed to be the principle that is talked about in the Bible, is that life starts with the woman, the feminine. So the feminine was around at a time in which that was the epoch in which we basically, our spirituality is what we encountered and experienced in the world. And what we saw was that Mother Earth gave us water and air to breathe and food to eat. The woman gave us life, physical life, human life. The womb of the woman was seen as a sacred place in which creation happened. And for a man to enter into that space actually was a sacred act. There was temples made actually for that act to take place. Much different than today, in the fact that evolution has accelerated itself, let's say, to procreation, and pretty soon we stopped using it for just procreation and decided we could use it for pleasure and power, right? I'm thinking about sexuality. Became a thing of power and control, and still does today. It really is a great part of the direction and manipulation of mankind in many areas. So when you get into the Bible, you start seeing a leap into a different phase of human evolution that is called the adolescence. Adolescence meant the developing of an identity. Now think about your adolescence. What happened in an adolescence? You start feeling your body, your hormones was kicking in, and you were going, who am I as a human being? Who am I as a woman? Who am I as a man? Who am I as a human being? Begin to kick in, and you had to develop a self of who you're going to be in this human experience. And it was during that time that we had dominion over the earth, men over women, and we took dominion over nature. And as we eventually begin to rape Mother Earth, we begin to rape woman and the feminine in many, many ways, because of the fear of the memory of the power of the feminine in the present epoch. They knew that. Unconsciously they know. They still do. They're not sure. Do we really want a woman as a president of the United States? Even though they're saying it, there's something deep within the male psyche that says, oh my God, what's going to happen if the feminine gets back in? I'll tell you what's going to happen. The rebirthing of a nation and of a planet. And I say that, men and all of us who are man enough to embrace our feminine aspects of ourself, that creativity part of ourselves. From that, mankind began to rename everything in what is called reductionism. Of 12,000 years of reductionism, domestication of animals, and so on and so forth, as man began to take over, even the realm of angels. Everything on earth had a spiritual entity. Fairies and elves and all these things you hear about that is not real was very real. But it says that man took over the angelic realm over the earth. See where that got you? So here we are at the end of an era of adolescence, and the call is grow up. Oh, grow up. Into spiritual adult. Spiritual adult means responsibility. These sons and daughters of God that we've spoken of are now grown up, adult sons and daughters. Many of you have sons and daughters that were your children, that needed you, that was dependent on you, that you was able to mold them, and then there came a time when it was time to leave the nest and mom and dad, and there's nothing you can do. When they begin to enter into their adulthood, you begin to realize that they had to make choices for themselves and hope you did the best that you could to instill in them. Sometimes I wonder what we did instill in them, but you that instilled their own connection with their own potential and their sole purpose, you did well. If you tried to make your children into your image, you did not do well. Most men that's a doctor wants a son that's a doctor. Most women that's a nurse, they want their daughter to be a nurse. My dad was a dental technician, he wanted me to be a dentist. They wanted to pass down. And I chose not to do that. As you see. As you see. So, here we are on a new beginning of a new epoch. Being a spiritual adult means co-creative. It means that you are no longer looking for Mother, Father, God to do everything for you, but you enter into the process of manifestation of life and destiny itself. You use your God-given power of choice. Of all of the beings on the planet, human beings can make choices. A lot of times animals are not allowed to make choices, and a lot of times we think we can, but we can. We have something in the brain, a frontal cortex, that allows us to have new thoughts, creative thoughts, intuition, guidance, imagination. And we can imagine something different. You know, the Native Americans say that nature is the classroom. That's where they went to school, or into the classroom, and taught their young people to go in and study nature. See how it works. So I had a Native American come in and speak when we were in Ohio many years ago, a chief, and he said that to me, and back behind our house was a little bit of a woods. And I went out in that woods and I started kind of looking around, and I noticed a spider. And I said, that spider is just being a spider. It's not worried about death. It's not worried about where it came from. It's not worried about insurance. It's not worried about what's going to happen to it. It has no sense of that. It's just being a spider. That was lesson one. I said, I like that. Because I'm always thinking about, what I should have done, what I could do. This is all this human stuff. So it's a trade-off, isn't it? You have to develop this freedom of choice to learn how to be aligned with divine purpose and divine providence in some way. So I agree with that. But even though that spider could do that, that spider could only do instinctually what the DNA was for a spider. And I'm here to tell you, you got so much unused DNA in you. You're only using about 3% of 3 billion letters in one double helix in one cell, and you have 50 trillion of those cells. 97% of genetic material has now been known in the old Newtonian science as junk DNA, because it was said it was left over and not needed through the evolutionary process. Now the shift is possibly in that unused DNA is answers to cure diseases and all kinds of things, and who wants to own it but Big Pharma? But they can own what's in me. And they can't own what's in you. And when they can't own enough in us that reach critical mass, we will shift things at the genetic level to become a different kind of a human being. Rather than Homo sapien, we'll become Homo luminous. Yes. A light being human. And that's the resurrection, is to raise your vibratory frequency out of this mundane, which you're not doing well now. I don't know about you, but I'm awkward. I am really kind of not with it most of the time, because some of my energy bodies has already gone into 5th dimension, and I'm getting awkward in 3rd dimension. I got to watch what I do. My balance is a little weird. This is a little weird. That's a little weird. Things that I understood now seem foreign to me, because I'm waking up from a dream that I've been caught in called 3rd dimensional world. And I'm saying over and over to you, to wake up is not an easy thing. When I woke up and found out they were putting fluoride in my toothpaste and water to calcify my pineal gland, to dumb me down like Hitler did with the Jewish people, and America took it on, that wasn't pleasant to know. Like, really? You're kidding me. They would do that? Yes. So we're waking up to a lot of things. Pollution, toxicity. Our food is completely contaminated. GMO. We're waking up. Our water. It doesn't look, and it's not supposed to be pleasant. It's a dream you want to get out of, a nightmare that you want to get out of. And you want to wake up, and you want to bring in the reality of the principles of universal divine kingdom law. Right? That is where we are. So, When we come to this land, we considered people that was here 20,000 years before the European landed. There was people on this land for at least we know 20,000 years before. We considered the people that we encountered here as savages, which gave us the rationale to treat them as we treated the rest of nature, as though it was spiritless. We did not see the spirit of the tree. We did not see the spirit of the crops, the spirit of the water. The spirit of Father Sky was not noticed in any way. We felt separated, and these were inanimate, and we could do anything to them and not bother them. I'm still upset about killing any kind of an insect. Sometimes I just have to do it because I've got to deal with them. You stay out there, we're fine. You come in here, it's a different story. But a lot of times we get something and we take them outside when we can. Not all the time, but some of the time. But even if I don't, I still feel that something in me that was someone who shared about 99% of my DNA. A fruit fly shares your DNA. Check me out on that if you want to. That shows you what a small band that we see that separates us is just about 0.5 to 1% that makes us different. The rest, we all are sharing this thing called life on planet Earth. So, it is no coincidence that as we move into Epoch 3, there's a renewed interest in Native American themselves, their tradition, in particular their spirituality, which is a earth-centered spirituality. White Buffalo Woman is known as singing this song. With visible breath I'm walking, a voice I am sending as I walk. In a sacred manner I am walking, with visible tracks I'm walking. In sacred manner I walk. The sacred vision of Black Elk, who saw this white buffalo woman, speaks to us of the nature that represents feminine power. But when we separate ourselves on nature in order to begin our adolescence, we separate ourselves from our innate feminine power. Thus, our adolescence became a masculine value. The Native American legend reminds us that when we remember our feminine power, we will gain a greater organic wholeness. Secondly, White Buffalo Woman sings the visible movement. In other words, material physical evolution. Notice, I walking, I walk, I walk, I walk. That is telling us everything changes. Everything goes toward evolving itself to a higher potential. She's not just standing there singing the song. It's a song on the move. And I'll bet you, but we need some songs on the move that gets us moving to the next level of what is being offered to us to grow and mature and develop as a different human being. One of the worst things that religion has taught, I don't know about others, but Christianity, is that the spiritual God that we all talk about created our physical bodies. That's a tough one. But I'll tell you what, I don't know who you serve and what your concept of a God is, but mine is a God of love, wholeness, peace, light. It is perfection and wholeness. Why would it create something lesser than it is? I often teach couples that why relationships and marriages don't work most of the time is because they're not as in equality or balance with each other. Because if you see something lesser than you, that's not love, that's pity. If you see something greater than you, that's not love, that's admiration. So the man that sees a woman that is lesser than him at some level pities her. If a woman looks up and sees her man as someone greater than her, she admires. Love is loving that which is equal to itself. As God is love, so are you love. As God is peace, so are you peace. For you are the extension of those things. Thirdly, it is the legend that states again that the earth and the animals form a unity with humanity, but if we have sacred vision to see it. In Job 12 and 18, it says, "Ask now the animals, and they shall teach you. And the birds of the air, they shall tell you." Wow. Job 12 and 7 says, "Speak to the earth, and it shall teach you." There's many of these scriptures. I was raised in a church that talked about the end of the world, like the earth is the world. That this earth was going to end. It doesn't say that. In fact, it says the earth abideth forever in one scripture. The world is an age. It is from the word aeon that means age. Yes, ages end as new ages begin. In astrology, we know that. In the constellation of the different ages as we move through the constellations. This is a tremendous time of a huge leap. Because of the thinking of most Europeans who came to America, this country was colonized but not discovered. People has always been here for 20,000 years. People had a rich heritage and earth-based spirituality. The European colonizers, by large, did not discover those riches at all. Instead, they saw the land free for the taking. If you look on a map and see how much land is just there, because they could just take it. For a while, we lived in Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is a very unique community. Beautiful. I love it there. But one of the riches of Hot Springs is the mineral waters that come out of the mountains, and there's all kinds of bathhouses and whatever. And one side of the street in Hot Springs is a national park. One of the first parks. Because Roosevelt or one of them came there for the waters and said, the government needs to own this water. And they took it away from the Native American peoples who had many ceremonies there in that place. So we just beginning to realize the consequences of such narrow, arrogant thoughts of our collective soul. So what are we going to do about it? That's the question. Yes, most days I try to do recycling. I pick up things once in a while. I try to do something when I am in consciousness. But we need to do more. But yes, it begins with you. We really need to realize what we can do as individuals to help the evolving of our planet. I heard the other day a speech, and it was on forgiveness as one of the most powerful things that we can do. And it's another thing that humans can do that no other life force or life manifestation can do. We can forgive each other. We can undo things if we choose to do it. So I think the first thing that I want to do at the end of this is do an amends to the Native American people. And there's certainly other people that need amends, and that will come in its time. But today on Earth Day, we have recognized the Native American and their wonderful contribution of a earth spirituality that has been lost. I did notice 20 years ago that all of a sudden drumming became popular, going to sweat lodges became popular, to all cultures. It wasn't just the Native Americans, but people of every race and every culture was being attracted to this Native American. Powwows, medicine wheels showed up. A lot of New Thought churches have medical wheels. I know Unity of Charlotte does. Maybe we'll have one someday. Why? Because, and this is a prophecy, Native American prophecy, that at the end of this age, the earth would call back her old caretakers. What does that mean? That means that you in past times that were taking care of the earth, and one time in your Akashic record is feeling the call of that frequency to come forth. You are the ones that are experiencing the compassion of the earth to continue this spirituality of earth. So if you have a calling toward that, that's a wonderful place to be at this time, to rise up and take your place as one who is helping Mother Earth as she is poised to make the leap into a new earth. You heard that term, a new earth. What does that mean? I'd say a new world. Worlds are systems, but a new earth means literally a new earth that is more etheric and less dense than this one. So if you will join with me, we will do a forgiveness, an amends to humankind and to Mother Earth. So if you'd like to stand with me on this, just in reverence to this, wow, we will do it together. Let's center ourselves. Feel the energy moving down from the top of your head, down to the heart, down to your root chakra, down each leg and into the feet, connecting heaven and earth, Father Sky and Mother Earth. And if you would read with me together. If I or any other human has ever done anything to hurt you or offend you or demean you or belittle you, I apologize. Please forgive me and please forgive us if we have ever felt unappreciated, uncherished, dishonored, or selfhood betrayed in any way. I'm sorry. May your beauty and your power now burst forth in the world of consciousness. May your heart be healed. May your soul be healed. May your mind be healed. May your body be healed. May your past be healed and your future be made new and strong. May you reach your fullest joy. I commit you, God, that henceforth I shall see your value. I shall honor you, appreciate you, cherish you. I shall recognize the divinity in you. Go with my love and the love of all men ever. Amen. Wow. Just breathe and take that in and mean it from your heart, that from now on we will see the divine in this wonderful culture, their contribution, and we forgive ourselves. The greatest forgiveness begins with oneself. You say, well, I didn't do it. Well, we have genetic material, most of us in us, that did do it. So what you forgive in this realm is loosed in the other realm. That's a scripture. What is loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven. What is freed in heaven shall be freed in earth. And today we stand for our ancestors who were a part of coming over and taking over this land and bringing a religion of an angry God to America. We're standing in that gap today, making up the hedge. And so it is. Amen.
Time to let your heart light shine. Time to let your heart